Hey guys, and welcome to another Destiny Council gameplay video. It has been a while. We have been working on other things, such as our website, which I will go ahead and post a link in the video in the YouTube description box below or whatever. But yeah, we are coming at you with some Legacies gameplay between Andrew and Brian. Andrew will be playing the Poe Hondo on the right, and Andrew has got the Obi Maz on the left. So it's an interesting matchup. Obi Maz is like kind of the baseline deck of this set, it seems. It's just the deck that goes out there. It's consistent. Maz rolls focuses. You hit them with threes. Obi gives you lots of health automatically. You get some good cards in there. If you can claim often enough, then you have access to hasty exit. Yeah, just a nice combination of speed with Maz, a little bit of added consistency with Maz, and then extra health buffer from Obi. I don't think it's nearly as strong as Poe Maz was back in the old days, but it's still a good deck to test against and to provide, just a baseline for playing any other deck. Well, how do we test? Is this deck viable? I'll play it against Obi Maz. It's going to do the same thing every game. Unless, of course, Maz misses every roll, then it might be a little bit skewed, but still. Then we have Poe Hondo, which obviously took the regionals, Portland regionals, 85-person tournament. It was slightly skewed because there were no starter sets allowed, so perhaps Hero Blue without heirlooms was slightly weaker. But I don't know. In any case, it's a very cool deck. It comes out of the gate hitting you extremely hard, or you just give it tons of resources so that it can ramp, and then it can do tricks just play expensive cards like Reversal. It can, pay for DL 44s relatively quickly. Post Blaster is insane, and it can run a very strong Throne Room. As all of its character dice can be claimed for. So with Poe, the claim is kind of like this pseudo soft control, especially towards the end of the turn. If that was like their last reroll, you can claim to blank one of their dice and take a shield. Whereas Hondo is the claim for the possibly 3 damage. Very strong deck, and we'll go ahead and get into this match. So I believe the players have already mulliganed. Brian has a 4-speed in his hand, which is going to be a nice start for him. Just another tool to keep ahead of Poe Hondo, and it looks like he wins the Obi Maz wins the roll-off. Another tool to stay ahead. Poe Hondo does, you see there in Andrew's hand, defensive position. So making sure that he controls the battlefield for most of the game and can deny the claims for specials is pretty important. So having the 4-speed in his hand, starting hand, is great for him. I can't quite see Andrew's hand fully here, but he's going to start with Friends in Low Places. It's going to hit the only event in Brian's hand, which is the Riposte. Still probably good for him, as that Riposte could be very strong early into the for just a first kill. But it is great information for Andrew. He knows that no matter what Brian does this turn, he can't interact with his dice, so Andrew can afford to be greedy. That's one of the biggest benefits of Friends in Low Places, is whenever you hit their hand and hit their only removal, it is an amazing card. Brian does start with that at binds, so he's going to have a lot of excess resources throughout the game, which is obviously very important against the Hondo deck, which is going to be disrupting and trying to steal all of your resources. We do see the Post Blaster there in Andrew's hand, so I'm assuming that's going to be dropped here. But he starts with a well-connected. He does have that defensive position in his hand, so that's probably why. He wants to be able to play the defensive position when Brian rolls out here. So now he drops the Post Blaster. Now that he feels safe. Although it would have been better to well-connected before playing the Friends in Low Places, so that if Brian did draw an event here, he would at least have been able to target that with the Friends, potentially. Brian does get lucky and misses 3s, so as long as Maz can roll a focus, he should be able to get some damage through that defensive position. Andrew's roll is perfect, basically. That double focus as well as 4 damage already showing is pretty grand. We're going to see Brian use the focus on that 4-speed to go ahead and deal 3 to Poe, which makes sense. As long as he can nerf or quickly get rid of Poe, Hondo can struggle to deal any sort of finishing damage, and Poe has the Post Blaster on him already. So it is definitely what I would say is the correct choice. But we'll see what Andrew does here. If I was him, I'd probably plan on dealing that two specials with Hondo here. Although there is a potential for him to just reroll once, because he has Throne Room. He only needs to hit on 2 dice before he can just claim for the 3rd. and so he might not need to cannibalize that double focus. But I don't know. If I were him, I'd try to stay ahead. So just starting the resolutions now would feel better to me. We're going to see 3 shields taken. And Andrew does go ahead and flip to the double specials. Brian will take a resource, and Andrew's going to special him twice. So 3, and then we'll see Brian does go ahead and pay off Andrew there. Interesting choice. It's kind of rough giving away that early turn 1 resource. I personally prefer the strategy of just taking the 3 there. It puts you certainly at risk, but it doesn't allow Andrew to have 4 resources going into this next turn. Although he did just drop the X8, so it will be just 2 resources now. But obviously it allowed him to ramp just that much faster. And the X8's damage can't be prevented by his resources. But at the same time, I mean, taking the 3 damage is walking a knife's edge. He could just get killed. Ooh, E. That is quite the roll there. Naturally rolling the Poe's Blaster special means that he'll be able to soft control with the Poe special if he desires, rather than having to turn. Or he can use the Poe special to eventually turn a Hondo die to the special. That is a beautiful roll. Andrew's pretty sad here that he couldn't have claimed last turn and had that defensive position ready. So he does deal that 3 to Obi, and it looks like he will go ahead and blank that 3. As I said there, having rolled the Poe's Blaster naturally means that Poe's special was freed up to do whatever he wished. Oops. Brian didn't roll in his 4 speed, so he's just gonna roll it in now. Friendly match, so it doesn't really matter much. We're gonna see Maz activating here. Rolling that double. No, that's a focus center range, so not bad. He does have the interesting decision of whether he focuses and doesn't resolve, so that he can resolve with that +3. Or whether he just resolves the 3 immediately. So he will go ahead and resolve it immediately. I would have left it there, because he has that focus sitting on the 4 speed. Even if Andrew has another removal, he could then focus to another side with that 4 speed, and then guarantee the resolution. Whereas if Andrew still has a single die removal here, you could see the Ancient prevented from being resolved this turn. But who knows? It's unlikely, since Brian still does have 2 dice out there that could provide base melee sides. But we'll see. Focus goes to that 3. So yeah, here we can see just like the tremendous amount of damage that Obi Maz can put out if it hits those focuses, if it draws those early upgrades, has enough ramp. That 6 damage there could kill Poe. You can see that he's thinking about it because he has a guard in his hand, so I believe he passed, thinking that he can finish off Poe next turn with a 3 quickly, and just use the +3 this turn for the damage mitigation to try to save Obi. Yep, so he makes that call. Interesting one. Like, killing Poe is obviously very, very good for Brian. And that if Andrew draws a hit and run next turn, it won't matter. So it's kind of risky to leave Poe there, but at the same time, removing the 3 dice there with the DL44 already on a 3, Hondo on a special, just seems like a potentially worth it play. 3 more damage to Andrew. He's going to claim. You can see another defensive position in his hand, so that is a little bit scary for Brian. Obviously, he can't know that that's there, but even just knowing that hasty exit or defensive position could come through. I'll be interested to see if he decides to Ancient Heal or not. Nope, he keeps the Ancient on the board. Probably safe at this point. There's really no way that Poe is going to deal 7 damage off of hit and run, so Obi will at least get to activate this round. Still, sometimes just Ancient Healing ahead of time can give you a little bit more buffer, a little bit more time in the turn. Youch. That is a good roll. Oh my. So Brian's just going to activate, taking a shield again. Remember, all he has to do is deal 3 damage. But we're going to see the defense position come through here, I assume. It is a little bit risky for Andrew, though, because if he defense positions here and Maz activates and hits that focus, he won't get any of those Poe dice resolved. So he's really choosing right now between dealing the 4 damage or preventing the 6. Since the focus from Maz isn't guaranteed, I think defensive position is a better play. But I guess we'll see what he feels. Oh, I think he also has an easy pickings in his hand too. So in that case, I'd easy pickings because the 3s are already on the same sides, I think, unless that's a 2. Not always the easiest to determine. Yeah, we are going to see the defense position come through. Remove those dice. So now comes the moment of truth. Can Brian roll that focus on Maz? 2, 1, and 3 odds. Not bad. Not great. We'll see what he does, though, here. Looks like he's actually going to be playing a card. Well, I'm curious to see what it is. Looks like he's deciding to play that light bow on Maz before he goes ahead and activates her. Just another shot at 3 damage, I guess, if he rolls that special. Bit risky. I mean, to have rolled a Maz focus there would have been such a huge payoff, preventing that 4 damage. But we'll see what he rolls here. And he misses again. So Maz is failing, at least this round. Be interested to see if he resolves anything. Looks like he's resolving the couple shields there. And Brian does have the claim for 3 damage to Poe online with that light bow out there. So I wouldn't be surprised to see him Ancient Heal here, just to give Obi that extra buffer before, and then potentially claiming relatively soon here. Obviously waiting until Hondo's resolved most of his dice to do so, but yep, here comes the Ancient Heal. Just provide a little bit of buffer. Don't want to waste those resources on Obi-Wan. Andrew rolls out into a pretty lackluster roll. He's going to need to deal 5 damage here, and with the amount of resources that Brian has, I kind of doubt that will happen, because Hondo specials won't deal damage. But we do see that ridiculous 3+2 roll there, so actually the 5 damage is going to be coming through. I think Brian probably can afford to be greedy here. If Andrew could remove the lipo, he probably would have. So I would say maybe deal that 1 to Hondo, and then claim with his next action. You know that Andrew has to resolve this, that 5 ranged. But we will see what he decides to do. Yep, goes ahead and deals that 1. Andrew's going to go ahead and remove Obi from this equation. Not looking great for Obi-Wan Maz. Not looking great for Brian here. But Maz with 2 dice that can deal 3 damage is definitely scary. The ability to just be unmitigated. As long as Brian can draw the right mitigation tools, he should potentially be able to survive this match. If Hondo gets down some second chances, it could be really rough as well. Just too much HP for Maz to go through. But we'll see what happens. I'm just going to decide to re-roll that. Rolls another special. Well, he's going to Diversion first, which is going to remove 1 resource from Brian, and then he's going to special twice. So making sure he gets through at least one of those damages. So now we're approaching the next round. So obviously Diversion can be a great option in Poe Hondo. If you get that second card, that second Diversion, being able to pay 1 to disrupt 3 is pretty rough. A person who's thinking that those specials aren't going to deal damage is going to be sorely disappointed when Andrew goes ahead and removes those resources. Running Interference is being dropped as well. That's a very powerful card. Just disrupting your opponent's turn can also just straight slow them down, which once again allows for the claim. especially in something like a mirror match, you can do things like running an interference on die resolution and just set them back with that one action. And then eventually getting the claim off before your Poe Hondo opponent can be great. Brian does roll no focuses here, which he's probably sad about, but he does roll that natural special. He has a My Ally in his hand, interestingly enough, so I'd be curious to see if he decides to resolve the Maz dice, the shield and the resource, and then just leave that special out there, eventually My Ally. But no, he's going to go ahead and deal it, leave that My Ally for later on. Deal 44 comes through. Brian chooses that good old Shoto to remove. And Andrew's proccing on playing a card. So Brian can't play any removal on this initial rollout, which is very scary. He could roll enough range damage to just kill Maz here, potentially. It would be a little bit lucky, but you never know. Fortunately for Brian here, Andrew does not have a resource. So that 3-for-1 side, which would have provided the base for the 7 other damage, or for the 7 damage resolution there, is just unusable right now. He does have a Hondo special though, so you could see him get a resource potentially. And it's already pretty scary for Brian here. Can't quite. It looks like he has a caution in his hand, which is obviously useless. And I can't quite see the other card. He's going to take another resource, anticipating some. I don't know exactly why you take that resource. You could the potential like giving Andrew the resource here is kind of interesting choice. But I guess the hasty exit is pretty solid here. Knowing that he could remove that one base side allowed him to make that play. Andrew's going to pay 1 to turn that X8 to the base side just to make sure he can resolve that 3 damage. 3 damage is going to come through. And now Brian should most likely just claim here. Yep, here comes the claim. And Andrew's just going to go with the early second chance overwrite. Not sure if that was necessary at this point, but at the same time, it buys him more action efficiency next round. And if Brian rolled a 3 and a 3, Andrew would just lose the game. Now, that is a 1 in 6 chance on both those dice, so 1 in 36 is not great odds, but sometimes you just have to play the cautious route, I agree. Although, we'll see if it reduces his damage output a little bit too much. We're going to see Brian roll out immediately here. Hopefully taking that Shoto shield, as long as he remembers. And Maz misses again. So not the best rolls from Maz in recent times. And we're going to see the easy pickings on the resource. Obviously a very, very solid card there. Anytime you can pay 1 to remove 2 dice with a single card, it's above the curve. So easy pickings is just like a better force misdirection in some ways. It's just more consistent. You don't need your own dice in the pool. You don't need a blue die showing the same side. Very, very powerful removable card. Andrew's going to activate out there and roll a relatively speaking terrible roll there. Although with Brian's luck, I don't know that he can complain too much. Looks like Brian's holding on to easy pickings in his own hand, so it'll be interesting to see if he chooses to remove the 2 blanks. I would if I were him, just to stay ahead of the action economy. But chooses not to. Just deals that 1 from Maz. And here I would definitely remove the blanks, just so that I could then claim as Brian for that 3 damage, knowing that Andrew can't just reroll into a ton of damage with less dice there. But we will see. Because you know that Andrew will most likely, with the special already on Hondo, he can't choose to claim for the special. He has to be able to turn the die to be able to resolve it. It's a then clause. So Andrew, if he wants to resolve that special, has to take an additional action here. So I would remove, yep, he's going to go ahead and remove the blanks. We'll most likely just see a resolution of those 2 dice, while Brian claims for the lipo, but we'll see. Interesting. I'm pretty sure Andrew can't actually do that. Oh wait, no, oh my goodness, guys. I'm sorry, I forgot that Hondo has 2 special sides. So, I'm the scrub here, guys, and Andrew and Brian know what they're doing, because as long as you have another special side, you can just turn to that other special side. So yeah, that's really sad for Brian. He would have been able to deal 6 damage there if he had rolled a focus or a special. Using that My Ally in his hand, he's going to choose to keep the My Ally. Probably because he feels like he needs that extra boost of damage to be able to close out this game. To have any chance of getting through the second chance and Hondo's health. Man, I still can't believe that I was forgetting that Hondo has 2 specials. But you'll have to forgive me, guys. Sometimes people are silly. We're going to see a Poe's Blaster dropped on Hondo. Obviously not as good as it would be on Poe, but it does have a claim for 2 damage, so a little bit more consistent than the X8 die. Brian's going to roll and miss focus again. Very sad game for Maz here. That's one of the worst feelings about playing a deck that involves Maz, is that she's kind of a feel-bad experience for both players. When she's just activating and resolving dice without you being able to interact, it feels bad as the opponent. And when you're playing Maz and she misses consistently, it feels terrible. Especially when this happens to you. The emergency evac for all 5 dice. You probably haven't seen this card, guys, but in a Hondo deck where you can really struggle to deal damage because they constantly are giving you resources, you're just kind of flushed with resources. And in this 1v1 scenario, being able to just remove all their dice when they roll out is absolutely insane. So you can see there, Andrew's basically got a free turn. Brian may have some removal here, but I can't quite tell. Doesn't look like he has many options. Looks like he's just, well, no reason to do that yet. He has full shields. Okay, roll by Andrew there. He's probably looking for a focus on Hondo, so that he can get to that special on the Buzz Blaster, or the 2 on the Buzz Blaster. He's gonna resolve that double disrupt. Brian's just gonna claim, figuring that Andrew might choose to claim for the Poe's Blaster special just to stay ahead. It's an okay reroll for Andrew, but he has no resources. He's gonna Hondo special first. Brian thinks about it, but gives him the resource. Makes sense. If I were Andrew, I'd reroll that Poe's Blaster one more time. There is that +2 side on it, so needs that option. Disrupts 1 and then deals the 3. So yeah, despite that emergency evac there, you can see Hondo. The problem with Hondo is that his character dice can struggle to deal damage. I'm also beginning to doubt that early second chance play there by Andrew. While it does prevent the possible loss, you can see here that he just, without 3 upgrades, he has very little damage threat. Let's see Brian activate here. And he finally hits. So he has an interesting choice here. If I were him, I would... I don't know what I'd do. I might focus to that 3 on the heirloom and resolve it, hoping that Andrew can't remove that light bow special, and he could go ahead and My Ally it. But what we're actually going to see is the flip to the +2, which actually, this might threaten the kill. No, it's a flip to shield. Interesting choice. There is still a route here to deal enough damage to kill Andrew. Well, no, not with taking that shield side. Oh, I guess I couldn't see that synchronicity there in his hand. So yeah, now there's definitely the potential for a kill here. With that My Ally in Brian's hand, you could potentially see a focus to that 3 side, and then a My Ally for the win. Andrew did proc on the playing the card there, so Brian can't remove any of these dice. But luckily for him, Andrew did not roll any sort of killing damage there. So we're going to see the focus to that 3 side. Sorry for missing that synchronicity in his hand, guys. Andrew needs to do something now, or he's going to lose. doesn't look like he's got an easy pickings, but that's not going to be enough here. They're different die sides. Yeah, this might just be... Maz might actually close this one out. We're going to see the truce. Rocking on playing a card. And then a discard to reroll. So Andrew's hoping that if he rerolls killing damage here, Brian couldn't be able to remove him. Second guessing, I guess. Chooses to instead just pay for the turn to the 3-for-1, figuring that if he deals the 5 now, he can threaten the Poe's Blaster's claim. But I think this should just be game over for Brian. He should be able to just my ally here, provided he still has the card and I'm not crazy. Oh, but he can't play a card. If I were him, I'd resolve the shield on the Shoto. The 5 damage doesn't kill. So there comes the 5 damage. But now, Andrew should have to pay for that, but it won't matter because my ally comes through. And 6 damage to Hondo should end the game. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this. You can clearly see that Obi Maz is a pretty solid base deck there for testing. Poe Hondo, very, very cool deck. It certainly has its downsides. It's low on HP with only 21. Hondo can struggle to deal damage in late game, as we saw here in that game. But at the same time, Hondo is just such an early damage threat that your opponent is either going to not ramp at all, and then it's a 1 game for you, because you're ramping equally for every resource they're losing, or you'll just be dealing freeze with Hondo, and then you'll see the Poe come in with that hit and run for the closing out the early kill. Very, very strong deck, certainly. But you can see that Brian is able to pull out that game. So I hope you guys enjoyed the match. If you guys have any requests for what you'd like to see us play, just go ahead and send them over. And thanks for watching, guys.